Hello and welcome to This Week on Planet Earth. I'm your co-host Jacob.
And I'm your co-host Matty, where each week we'll break down the latest space exploration, science, and technology news.
So without further ado, let's get into this week's stories. So I'm kicking off this week's episode with some fun and interesting space news. There's an article that's come out on The Guardian, and basically it's saying that astronomers have spotted the first possible exoplanet outside of our galaxy. And it goes on to say that there is a possible Saturn-sized planet identified in the distant Whirlpool galaxy, and it could be the first exoplanet to be detected outside of the Milky Way. And the exoplanet candidate appears to be orbiting an X-ray binary made up of a normal star and a collapsed star or black hole. And its distance from this is the distance of Uranus from the sun. So it's pretty close to that black hole or collapsed star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's insane. They say here this sort of discovery extends the reach of planet searches to distances roughly 10,000 times more distant than what we're currently doing. Because I always sort of forget just how sort of far these things are, and sort of the distances that we're looking at. We're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of light years away, and we're able to spot something the size of a planet just by looking at the signature that it casts on the sun. So I think this sort of stuff is pretty insane.
Yeah, my one thing actually thinking about it is, as well as like, it's all moving too, isn't it? Like none of this is stationary. It's like that in itself is insane. And I wonder, like, you've got to be pretty precise, right? Because I know space is like empty, but surely on those distances, there's going to be like interference from stuff moving around. And like, it's just nuts that they can pinpoint that and kind of like have an idea of its like composition based off how the light hits it and stuff like that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. Yeah. Yeah. So my first bit of news was just an update on Tesla. So Tesla has now reached a valuation of $1 trillion. So this puts it in the same sort of club alongside Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google's parent Alphabet. And just for sort of context, it means that it is worth twice as much as Toyota, Volkswagen, and Ford combined. So it's pretty crazy, the sort of valuation and the amount of sort of capital that Tesla has managed to gain relatively quickly.
Yeah, it is nuts. And I think it's also well deserved though. Like out of all of the like car companies and stuff, I feel like Tesla really do kind of like try and pave the way. And I know there's a lot of people kind of talk about them just being like a software company as well, don't they? Because they do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is nuts. I saw something on Twitter a couple of days ago, and it was like, since Elon Musk has smoked that joint on the Joe Rogan podcast, Tesla shares have gone up like 1,807% or something. And it's just crazy, isn't it? How quick it's happened. Because like, I remember seeing like when he was like applying for bankruptcy and all of that was going down. Never mind like this valuation. And I swear recently as well, SpaceX had an evaluation for like 100 or 200 billion, wasn't it? So it's just nuts. All of his companies are just growing to be these massive things.
Yeah, it's get it early, I guess.
Yeah. No, for sure. So my next little story is something to do with space again. If you're a listener to the Infinite Void podcast, or you've kind of been following along to This Week on Planet Earth, you'll know that me and Matty are very interested and passionate about space debris and all that kind of stuff. But I saw this company in the UK, well, the UK Space Agency, like awarding this contract for a mission to remove 2 spacecrafts from low Earth orbit in 2025. And it looks interesting because I think it's led by a Swiss startup called ClearSpace and another one that is Japanese based called Astroscale. But basically, the UK Space Agency is awarding them a contract to try and study it until the end of March, and then they want it removed by 2025. But I think this could be a cool route for the UK to go down. I think when you look at like the space industry, there's not really much like need for the UK to create like, say, a reusable rocket or like try and beat something, because a lot of it's kind of been done. So I feel like there's probably room to like really grow with your like little space industry if you probably applied it to a sector. And I feel like the UK could probably be pretty good with cleaning up the space debris.
Yeah, we have quite a sort of decent history in terms of sort of satellite design. So sort of Surrey Space Technologies and the Airbus group down near London. So they do quite a lot of this stuff. And you're right, it's this sort of quite niche satellite technology is the sort of things that we have quite a good sort of pedigree in, rather than trying to focus on launches or sort of actually the rockets themselves. So yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense, and hopefully we'll see more of it over the next couple of years.
I do wonder though, because we obviously haven't spoken on this because we've been away for a little bit, but the UK government announced, didn't they, that they want to have a rocket launch in like the next couple of years. And I wonder where they're going to go with that. Like, who's going to be the supplier of the rocket, or are we going to try and build our own, or what? It'll be very interesting to see. I would love it because, as me and you always say, I would just love to go to some rocket launches, and it's not feasible at the moment with them being in America and the pandemic and travel and everything. I don't actually think we can travel to America yet, can we, until November?
Yeah, I think from November we can go.
But... So it would be cool, just in case and there's any more worldly disasters, that we can go and see one in our own country. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting, and we'll keep on that and keep everybody updated if they have any changes.
Yeah, so I had another piece of sort of space launch news. So again, satellites. This is probably a bit more mainstream than the UK one. So this is about James Webb Space Telescope. So it's now being shipped to French Guiana, so just north of Brazil, where it's going to be, well, it has been unpacked and it's doing its final sort of tests before it's loaded onto the rocket, targeting a launch relatively soon. So, yeah, it might be pushed back again. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's definitely another sort of step for it. So at the moment, at least they're aiming for an 18th of December launch for James Webb.
How long is it going to take to get it set up once it's up in orbit? Are we going to have to like wait ages to get any data back, or is it going to be something that's like sorry I put you on the spot then, because
I'm frantically scrolling through my notes. I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I just interested because I'll be interested to see how quick if it all comes back. I can imagine it probably depends on where they're putting it and what data they're going for first, right?
Yeah, but they've got to get it into this. It's quite a special orbit. It's going into this sort of parking orbit. It's going to stay sort of stationary, but the other thing is it's got to obviously unfold the mirror on it. So it's an 18-meter mirror, I think. It's an absolutely massive thing, and it's got a lot of moving parts, and they've all got to 6.5 meter mirror. They've all got to unfold, so that's going to take some time. There's going to be quite a lot of testing to make sure that it's all worked. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and over Christmas, hopefully we'll be able to see some more progress on this.
Hopefully they don't have any problems either, like they did with Hubble, because I remember they had to send people up, didn't they, to like fiddle with it.
Yeah, but James Webb, I know, is going to an orbit where it won't be accessible. Yeah. We won't be able to get anyone to it. So once it's up there, that is it.
A lot of pressure. So for my last bit of space news this week, I'm keeping it in space news. I just gave it away. So it is that Blue Origin unveils plans for like a private space station, I'm going to call it. The newspapers are calling it a space business park, and I don't know how fair that is because I don't know entirely what it's going to be used for. But what it basically goes on to say is that Blue Origin, the space tourism company owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, has announced plans to launch a commercial space station, and they're aiming to get it up by, I think, in the next decade, but they want to try and guarantee 2030. And it's going to be 32,000 square feet. It's going to be able to hold up to 10 people on it. And the company is partnering with Sierra Space and Boeing to build the outpost. And it's going to be called the Orbital Reef, and it looks really fancy. It looks like something out of, like, I don't know, some sci-fi film.
Yeah, Gravity. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool. And I think this, in some ways, I think makes quite a lot of sense because, to me at least, at the moment, Blue Origin just do not have the capability to launch massive things. That, like, they're so far behind sort of SpaceX in terms of that sort of area. So trying to focus on this sort of thing where they design and develop systems and then team up with other sort of groups like Boeing, and presumably they'd have to team up with other sort of launch companies to actually get this thing up there. It makes a lot of sense, I think. So, and it also makes a lot of sense for NASA because I think the International Space Station costs about 100 billion in total.
Yeah.
They're able to sort of put that cost out to a private company who own it, and NASA sort of is just able to rent the space that they need, and the private company can also look at using this thing. I'd be pretty certain that they will only call it a business park. Part of this would be sort of quite commercial and quite private in terms of, people could get up there for short amounts of time and do touristy stuff.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with you. It actually says here that the location, it'll be able to provide customers with an ideal location for filming in microgravity, conducting cutting edge research, and there will also be a compartment to include a space hotel. But it's going to cost 726 million.
Yep.
And most of the funding will be from Blue Origin as well. So good old Jeffrey making it rain. But yeah, that's cool.
It does look cool, yeah. My final bit of news, I know we discussed it just before we started, was on Artemis 1, and NASA has now fully stacked the Space Launch System that's going to be carrying the Artemis 1 moon mission, ready for February 2022, which is its planned launch date.
It's come around so incredibly quick.
So this is going to be this is a huge step, isn't it, in terms of getting people back to the moon. So it's come around very quickly, and it will be, I think I'm right in saying, it'll be the first time that we've done any sort of deep space mission that isn't solely sort of a satellite going to another planet for quite a while, going into deep space. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And looking at the pictures of it when it is stacked, the actual size of it is just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so big. I really appreciate that they've brought back the worm logo as well. I think it's the best one.
100%.
But no, I think it looks really cool, and like you're saying, with all these photos of it like slowly being stacked up and everything, it just looks so incredibly big. And like we've said from the very start, like, this is what NASA does, creating massive rockets and sending them into space, and that's kind of what we want to see. And it's so crazy that it's coming around in February next year. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
no, that's going to be awesome. Well,
so
that's much more positive than last week, than the last episode. I think the last episode we were super negative because there was loads of pollution news, I think. So hopefully that's a little bit more positive for everyone, as it's Halloween week as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. If you did, make sure to hit the like button below because it helps with new people discovering us. And let us know down in the comment section below if we missed any other like space news or tech news that you think we should have covered. And if you are watching this, we have released a Halloween episode today too, over on the Infinite Void podcast YouTube site and on our RSS feed. So it'll be on Spotify, Apple, Google, and all of those. And we're doing a Halloween special episode on paradoxes. So if you want to have all of the logic in your brain turned into a zombie just in time for Halloween, go and check that out because I'm sure it'll be fun. It's right up mine and Matty's street. And yeah, guys, we will catch you next episode for some more news.